All right, we're back. And let's go ahead and go over to weather.com. Coast to coast snowstorm will spread rain, thunderstorms, snow into the plains, Midwest, east into the weekend. Sounds like a repeat. I mean, the last couple storms we've covered, man, they've done the same thing. Here we have current radar. This was as of 7:05 p.m. More rain for Iowa. Snow in Nebraska. 3 to 5 inches it looks like. Possible falling. Denver, light snow right now. Kansas City, you got a rain out, almost a rain out in your baseball game yesterday. A 2.5 hour delay. More rain was in the area today as well. On Friday morning, golf ball sized hail was reported in parts of Oklahoma, including Arcadia area, near Arkansas City, Kansas. Heavy snow and rain downed tree limbs and slowed the commute Friday morning in the Salt Lake City area. Almost April. Heavy rain from the systems triggered flash flooding late Wednesday just north of Redding, California. In the Bella Vista area, parts of California, Sierra, and Nevada have picked up more than a foot of snowfall still. Here's a look at what to expect Friday through Friday night. We still have snow in the Central Plains. Denver, Nebraska, northwest Kansas, places like Almena, Kansas, and Norton, Kansas. You guys are looking at a possibility of 3 to 5, possibly localized 8 inches of snow. Not uncommon. I lived out in this part of Kansas, and we saw winter last all the way through probably middle of April, where we would get snow overnight and it would melt in the day. I think we actually called April 15th, it was officially marked as February 82nd because it was cold and snowy still. But lots of moisture coming back into the Midwest, Indiana, Illinois, northwest Ohio, Michigan, Flint area, Detroit. You guys will see some moderate rain and some snow in the UP of Michigan as well. Saturday, this system will continue to trek across the Midwest into the Ohio Valley, the Kentucky-Tennessee Valley as well, with moderate rainfall reaching western New York. Snow in Canada, heavy snow at that. Temperatures, guys, central New York, 64 degrees. So this will definitely be an all rain event. But look at this. Sunday, as this storm system moves through the northeast, we will see moderate rain. And yes, snow will be back in the region as it gets a little cooler. Here's what they're looking at as far as snow rain totals. About less than an inch of rain in the northeast for the most part. 1 to 3 inches of snow, isolated 3 to 5. And of course across Ohio, Indianapolis, and Illinois, we're looking at moderate rain of 1 to 2 inches. Still, a decent amount of rain. Area is already saturated. And let's go take a look now at our tropical tidbits. As you'll see, this model here is lining up with what we were just talking about. Snow in the northern plains, Nebraska, Kansas. This system moves through Saturday, heavy rain going into the Ohio Valley. Nothing too crazy, but still some moderate to heavy rain moving through the northeast. Sunday night, we will see snow overnight in the northeast, but that snow will be gone by daybreak. Temperatures are not expected to stay below freezing for very long. And then we have that storm system I was talking about last week that I thought maybe had a chance to be a coastal storm for the first week of April. Thankfully, that looks like it's moving out to the Atlantic. Snow showers up once again in Canada, and of course back in the northwest, Wyoming, Idaho, parts of Montana, and Colorado seeing some light snow April 3rd. Low pressure system tries to get its act together. Another large area of precipitation moving across the country through areas that are already flooded as we speak. Now, a lot of this doesn't really get its act together until it's past Nebraska and going into Missouri, Iowa, and other parts, Arkansas, Louisiana. It intensifies through Friday. By next weekend, we will see a repeat of more rain moving through the same areas that we saw this weekend. Again, this is just moderate, usual spring type moisture. Then it gets a little more active in the south, Texas especially. We're watching this little low pressure system here in the Gulf. And by April 8th, this thing is kind of hanging around. It's been there lulled out now for almost 3 days into the future cast. So GFS is picking up on something possibly decent size and just kind of hanging around in Texas for a few days. So we could see some flooding issues in the deep south as well, heading into the second week of April, and really high pressure trying to dominate most of the country once that low pressure system moves through on the 10th. Northwest, you're still going to have chances of snow all the way through Thursday, April 11th. Colorado, Denver, not out of the question for Friday, April 12th. And then this very interesting setup here. We have two patterns where basically we are seeing troughing northeast cold air and the northwest cold air, and then that warm air in the south and through the middle part of the country into the Midwest. And this storm looks very interesting. We talked about this, I think, the last broadcast. But look at how tight those bars are. That's going to mean lots of wind, blizzard-like conditions in parts of Canada, and I think that snow that we're going to see there in the U.S. April 13th is going to be a quick-hitting theme. But look at the size of this storm and how tight these bars are. This is something to watch here for the upper Great Lakes, Minnesota, Wisconsin, UP of Michigan. It could get interesting here. By mid-April, we could see a decent little snowstorm, maybe the old man winter's last punch. But again, for the third straight weekend, we have moisture in the form of rain predicted to move through once again across the central part of the United States, through the Midwest, into the east, into the Northeast. So one thing is for certain, from Colorado all the way to the east, into the Northeast, we are getting our fair chances of precipitation over the next several weeks to come. And again, nothing crazy that is jumping out at me, but the thing that's concerning is the temperatures continuing to get warmer as we approach deeper into spring. Areas that still have snow depth are going to continue to melt, creating more flooding. And folks, they're expecting this flooding to continue for the next 2 months. I just don't understand how. Here we go right here. I mean, this is where we got to watch, especially mid-April. Now we will start to see the rest of that snow melt for sure. Spring is trying to make an appearance. Summer's not far away if we're seeing 80s already in the south. I think it could be a hot summer for the deep south this year. I think we're going to see a lot of humidity. I think there's going to be a lot of heat index issues this year in the south. I think parts of Texas, southern Texas, eastern Texas will be part of that problem with the heat and humidity. And it could also, we could see some freakish hot weather on the East Coast, like Philly, Jersey, New York City. We'll see. The different central part of the United States, and the northern part especially, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Idaho, Minnesota, I really believe we're going to see just an average summer, below average temperatures at some point. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. But looking at things, how they are right now, the patterns, folks, buckle up. It's going to be a long ride. And the key word here, two things: patience and preparing. And the patience comes because you have to have a formula on how to prepare. You just can't start randomly putting the list together. It's got to be some kind of a strategic plan, guys. We really have to think this out. And the time for sitting around talking about it, thinking about it, is getting to the point where that's got to stop. We've got to start putting it into action. AOC wants mankind to step into action to stop climate change. What her problem is that man is not going to do anything to stop this. So instead of shifting trillions of dollars on changing the infrastructure for solar and wind and other things like that, we need to spend that trillions of dollars on preparation for food prep, for possibility of starting indoor vertical growing on our crops now. We have to start coming up with new growing solutions as a country. If these events continue to happen and continue to get worse like they've been predicted, and like we've seen over the past 3 years, we've been told it's going to get worse, and it has each year. And that's pretty much all I got for tonight. Mari, did you want to step over here? Say hello to everybody.
I got. It is a busy night in the chat. You guys rock. I don't even know where to start. So I'll first start with the people who did Super Chat. It's only fair. So Thor, thank you. And Anthony, thank you. He says he loves us. Thank you. It feels good to be appreciated. I feel like YouTube scams us out of all that love, Jake.
Yeah, it does at times.
Typo is new to the channel and did a super chat and said thank you. And Two Trees, shout out to you as well. Thank you. So lots. I don't. The conversations are all over the place, Jake. People are talking about learning now new skills, in case they want them in the future. If you don't have electricity, anything can happen. Honing your skills, practicing now so you're ready if you need them. People are talking about coffee. What would you do if you didn't have electricity to make coffee, Jake? Do you know how to use a percolator?
Right.
So we have people in the chat practicing these new things. We have people in the chat having.
The best way to get a leg on that stuff, like survival. Look on Facebook for survival groups. Don't look for climate survival groups. Look for these survival groups out there. These real people that go in the woods and camp out in their sleeping bag and cook their food on rocks and fire. Find survival groups like that. That's the best. Don't find a climate motivated survival group. Find something that's just a guy who's really into the outdoors.
Really passionate about.
That's where you learn.
The skills.
Yep.
Not just talking about it, but actually doing it. We're members of some great survival groups.
I have a couple I've seen.
We should probably start recommending them on our site.
Yep.
Let's see. Sandy Crow. She says she lives in Tasmania, and they're experiencing some strange weather here. A lot of wind and humidity, which is odd for Tasmania.
Okay.
Tammy, she's getting rice and practicing growing. I think she said she's growing potatoes. Jimmy Kane says some things he's been stocking are rice, beans, lentil grains, dried fruit, sugar, yeast for alcohol, pasta, oatmeal, canned food, honey, peanut butter. People are sharing what they're doing when it comes to prepping. Tammy also had a good comment. She said, the time to practice is now. So I already said that, I guess. Didn't I? Todd said, tell your husband I said hi, Grand Solar Minimum GSM News. So Todd says hi. They're always saying hi to me in the chat. You finally got someone saying, well, Jake's not in here. I'm going to say hi to Jake. So, let's see. There's so many.
If I was in the chat while I did the show would be 5 hours long.
I could go on and on. You guys are wonderful in the chat. I do want to give a shout out to the people in the Midwest in the chat that are giving us some updates on what's going on. Hi, Turbine says we might get 1 to 2 inches of snow here in southwest Nebraska. I am not happy about hearing that.
Right.
And then Chris Water said Alton, Illinois, flooding west Alton Interstate is down to one side only, Highway 367. It's really great seeing people affected by these areas in the chat or areas be in the chat sharing this information, because it is very difficult to break up the information and disseminate what's fact, fiction.
Yep.
And that is very important to us. So hearing from people directly so we can relay it to more people on this channel is awesome. It's great to see you guys here. And I've taken up so much time. Sorry about that, Jake.
No problem.
Hello to all the people I didn't say hi to. How's that, Jake?
Sounds good.
Now I'm done.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for us tonight. Mari will actually get into splitting up this video so we can break it down for you guys. You can watch it in smaller forms instead of the whole hour. We'll break it up into clips for you. The weekend, we may have a show. I got a friend from Denmark we used to get on here and talk on the weekends. As long as schedules are right for the taking, we might have a show on Saturday or Sunday. But nevertheless, we will be back Monday morning with our solar update and next Tuesday with our next live broadcast. Unless something happens and it's breaking news and we have to be on the air, of course, that will happen, of course, if we have to be on the air for any breaking news whatsoever. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us today. Please like and share. Subscribe to our channel. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, We're on Patreon, just about everywhere. And of course, don't forget thegrandsolarminimum.com. We're still building that website up. You still register into the website. It's free to register. There's no fees or anything to join our website. Mari has created this website to be almost its own social media platform, and we've yet to use it. So we encourage you guys to check it out, thegrandsolarminimum.com. All right, guys, we'll talk soon. Take care.
Do you like this show? Give us a thumbs up. Want to support us more? Share to your favorite social media platform. Buy a t-shirt or become a Patreon. All links are in the description below.